Hi, everyone. Okay, so this market scan is going to be for predominantly end of day traders and just having a look at the market. So first of all, looking at the dollar index here, we pull back into the moving averages. I'm looking for a potential continuation here from a weekly perspective. We are also looking at it. We're in a pretty good area. We've let off a little bit of that selling pressure. From a monthly perspective, I think we're a little bit too soon for us to come back to test that level. I think we've got more downside ahead of us. So I'll be looking for continuations there, which means if we're looking at, say, for example, euro dollar here, I'm looking for a continuation up relatively shortly. Although we've started a bit of a weekly correction here, it really is very reluctant to head any lower. So I think that we could see a break above the high. You've got a couple of bars here that are just consolidating, and that's really what it's doing, is it's battling to decide whether it wants to correct down towards 1.16 or whether it wants to continue up from where we are now. And I think that there's a fair chance, just 60-40, that it's going to head up higher before it instead of heading lower. I also notice here cable is back down at these levels here. Cable is in at these levels here, and therefore I think we're finding some potential support. Again, we've also had a decent retracement over here. I think the upside potential should be relatively decent. Let's have a look at dollar yen. Dollar yen here, trying to actually find some supports. Remember that dollar yen can buck the trend. Right now, dollar yen has got a nice uptrend on the daily. It's actually trending higher on the weekly. It's forming a little bit more of a wedge pattern over there. From a monthly perspective, it's sitting near these lows here, so it's got a lot of pressure. The yen itself wants to weaken, but the dollar's weakening as well, so they're causing a bit of an issue over there. Now, having a look at dollar Swissy to me, showing here, at least certainly on a weekly perspective, seems to have further downside potential. Here on a daily perspective, looks almost as though it's getting ready to change trend. Day isn't over yet, so I want to see where we ultimately close by the end of the week. What's interesting to me here, dollar CAD, on the other hand, is looking a little bit different. It has found a level of support. There's some definite bullish divergence, and therefore upside potential to me is actually greater. And we're still producing a potential swing low here on the monthly that puts it at a higher than the one we've seen in September. Excuse me. So the longer term trend here to the upside, meaning that the Canadian dollar is weakening, is still a possibility. But there are a couple of ways in which this could play out. We could see this hit up and break the high, which would be a clarification. Then we'd have a double bottom. And then we could clearly expect it to head up to 1.4. Alternatively, if it produces a lower high, comes back down to test this level, then we may actually be manufacturing a descending triangle, which means longer term, this divergence will work its way out of its system and will ultimately head lower. So there's two ways, and it's a little bit too soon to tell at this point which one is going to happen. Let's have a look at gold. Gold is forming a very, very little tight triangle over here. You can see from a weekly perspective, it's had a great consolidation. So from a weekly perspective, it's taken a break. It should be good to go. From a monthly perspective, on the other hand, you can see it's really battling with that 3,300 level. And so this is really the question here, is are we going to see a bit of a correction to the downside? Again, I still think a correction down to 3,000 would be an absolutely fantastic correction, allowing it to continue to head up to back up to 3.5 or 4 or 4.5. So just keeping a little bit of an eye on that. If we have a look now at crude oil. So crude oil isn't really offering very much, guys. It is continuing to push up a little bit high. We've broken some of the most recent highs on the monthly. We're sort of more bullish than bearish, but I'm not liking this trend. There's nothing here that to me would represent high probability money-making opportunities. Let's have a quick look then at the global indices. So have a look at the Dow. From here, we've got this very nice pullback and a nice bullish candle into the moving averages, and a break above that high should see a follow-through. Yes, we're a little bit overextended from a weekly perspective, but we've had bigger weeks than this, so we could still see some potential upside. Just highlighting now, this is exactly what's happening. It's deciding whether it's got the potential to head back up to the all-time highs from where it is now, or whether it needs to have a weekly retracement before it does that. So just that is explaining where the hesitation is coming from. But I would say this, we could see price pulling back in. It is attempting to continue on, and from a daily perspective, it actually looks really good. Then we've got the NASDAQ as well. Also, that trend continues to move higher. I think we still have that potential for that to push up a little bit higher, but there's a definite struggle here with some divergence, lower highs here. And so at some point in this future, we are expecting a correction. The question is, will it come this week? Let's have a quick look at that Russell 2000. Russell 2000 on the other hand, absolutely beautiful. Beautiful pullback, continuation. It's got lots of upside potential. So this is just, if this is hinting at anything, is that the markets still are quite bullish, and therefore upside potential is very real and very much on the table. FTSE 100, Bobby gets hit up against a bit of resistance over here as well. The DAX, let's have a look at this. Also here continuing to push higher. So again, that upside potential really very much on the table. And let's have another look then at Bitcoin. So Bitcoin here breaking through some resistance, and again, very nice move to the upside there. I think, again, it's one of the healthiest ones that I've seen trend-wise. Overall, just looking very good here from a monthly perspective. I would say that 120 is potentially on the table. I don't think it's outside of the realm of possibility. Ethereum will play a little bit of catch up, but Ethereum can work its way back up to the highs here at 3.7 in due course. Let's have a look at the Mag 7. Let's look at Apple. Apple here setting up with a nice bullish candle so far. So again, I think we've got that potential to break higher today. We've got to get through this level of resistance, but I'm going to count that. There we go, just putting in a level there. Got to work our way through that, but that looks pretty good. Microsoft as well, just continuing to just tick up. I mean, this is just ridiculous. A little bit overextended here, but not showing too many signs. I mean, we can see here we've got that divergence. This continues to print lower lows while price produces high highs. That's more than likely going to be just that weekly becoming overextended. It's just been moving without connecting with the moving averages at all. And of course, at some point, we'll have a correction from that, but there's no signs of it just yet. Amazon, excuse me here, flat at the moment and looking relatively healthy over here. That monthly low also looking good. So I think, again, we could see a consolidation breakout with Amazon. Alphabet just chugging along. It's not great quality price action, but it is above the 50. And actually here it has that upside potential as well. Let's have a look at Meta. Meta continuing to push higher. So that also looking very good. NVIDIA also continuing to push high, looking very, very good over there. We've got Tesla. So Tesla at the moment battling here with a level of support. So it's actually produced a lower high and prices now hovering down towards these lower lows. So this is almost more of a descending triangle that's forming. Something that I would potentially pay attention to also from the highs down here as well. But I'll mark this one in. And I think, yes, there is the possibility here we could see this break low. I think it is potentially on the table. So let's just see how that plays out in the coming months. If it is going to break lower, it'll do it towards in the sort of Q3 in the second half of the year, and then finally potentially in Q3, finishing off here with Netflix, which is producing a potential buy signal at this point, literally as we speak. Also looking good, a little bit overextended from a monthly perspective. Would love to have a bit of a correction similar to what we saw in April, but from a weekly perspective, not looking bad, and certainly not from a daily perspective. There is that bearish divergence. So again, some of these are really printing that divergence, and that hints at a sort of in the coming months that we could have a much deeper correction. And I'm thinking at this point, if we do, it's not really so much a weekly one as it is a monthly one. We could see a bit of a correction that way. But you know what, that being said, some of these are still looking very good on the daily. So I think there's still that shorter term upside potential. That's more for traders than for investors per se.